Hello everyone, welcome back to the Reese's Writing YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing what a lot of booktubers have done, and I thought it'd be a great idea to sort of wrap things up with everything that I read in 2024 and rank them by the old essay B, C, D, and books that I really need to reread, books that I read and didn't quite grasp what was going on. Most of them will be audiobooks that I want to reread because some I just maybe don't quite get the plot or don't quite understand what's going on at some points. So those will be mainly the ones I would like to reread to try and understand. But there is one that I would like to reread that I did read in paper form. But anyway, yes, this is everything I read in 2024. I'm going. It's kind of not entirely from beginning of the year to the end of the year, but that's what I wanted to go for, is start off at the beginning of the year and then end of the year. And also because they're end of the year, because they're the beginning of the year of 2024, they probably require a bit more sort of going through and describing, because I probably haven't done such a review of it on the channel. So hopefully it'll end up that I'll be a bit quicker in the final books, because I've done a review on it already. But anyway, let's crack on. I read 75 books in 2024, which is probably 30 books more than I read in 2023. I don't really, I would love to read as many books as I could in a year, but I don't have a specific goal in mind. I would just like to read as much as possible in a day. I like to sort of focus on daily reading and just trying to read as much as I can, split up through the day and do some writing as well. And I don't really want to say I want to read 100 this year, the year of 2025. I'm jumping between 2023, 2024 and 2025 today, so it may be a bit of a clusterfuck of years. So the first book that I read in 2024 was The Martian Chronicles by Ray Bradbury. So Ray Bradbury is one of my favorite authors. Martian Chronicles is my favorite book of his. I would love to read Fahrenheit 451, as I read that quite a while ago. I'd love to read it again now that I'm sort of more into science fiction. Also, I didn't actually say that my reading tendencies is rather sporadic. I don't specifically go for science fiction or fantasy or horror or others. I like to spread my wings, so to speak. So I get a wide range of different genres, from historical to non-fiction to crime to science fiction to fantasy, etc. So we'll be going across many different genres this in 2024. I don't really have any plans to specifically go down the route of science fiction or fantasy in 2025, but maybe further down the line when I maybe grasp more of what I like. But I always like to get different types of books read, and mood reading and stuff. I sometimes, would want to change it up and read, a quick science fiction novel over a big fantasy epic or science fiction epic. So yeah, let's start off with The Martian Chronicles. So The Martian Chronicles is a collection, or like an anthology, about Mars and the increase in human settlements in Mars, and how they deal with Martians, how their sort of special abilities, they can sort of change to different people. They can like morph to people you know, or morph to someone random. So there's quite a lot of different stories, a lot of short ones about different specific landmark events that happen in the Martian Chronicles. Space rocket launches for certain civilizations, certain humanity like groups, and it starts off with like first people that land on Mars, like discovering the Martians and the problems they face with the Martians. Like they have towns and things, the Martians. So yeah, really good story, really good anthology of books to make this sort of history come alive, of the like the Martian expeditions of humans, and really good stories, really heartfelt human stories as well, which is very sort of impressive to, get that in there with science fiction. Ray Bradbury has such amazing prose, really poetic, and has a lot to do with family. I will put this in the S tier because it's great. And I think I put it third in my top 10. And then we have Titus Grown, the first book in the Gormenghast series. Titus Grown is about a big sort of castle called Gormenghast, and there's loads of different rooms, loads of different sort of wings to this castle, and that holds a lot of different characters, a lot of really interesting characters. And Titus Grown, the first book, is about a new baby called Titus Grown being born, and that he is the heir to the throne. And there's a lot of sort of politics at play. Will he get onto the throne? His mother as well really holds a part. There's some sort of magical elements there with her sort of talking to animals and talking to people that talking to animals that can do her bidding, like birds and lots of different nature. So that's pretty cool. But overall, I think I really like Mervyn Peake's comedic Britishness. I really like his Britishness in it. It really creates an amazing character with his writing. And yeah, I really love Titus Grown, so that will be going in the S tier. And then we have Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. I did a really quick review of this, but really you shouldn't know much about it when you get into it. You shouldn't know really anything about the story, the characters. Just go into it blind and give it a try. It's weird fiction. It's sort of journalistic view of journal entries from this guy, and yeah, just go into it, give it a try. I really enjoyed it. I don't think I'd put it in S tier. I don't really want to go into reasons why, but yeah, I'd put it in the A tier. And then we have Ubik. I've got 2 Ubiks here. I've only just realised. But anyway, I'll use the first one. I really enjoyed Ubik. I don't think I put it in my top 10, but it is very close to being in the top 10. So Ubik is about this sort of group of people. They have a sort of crime go wrong, and then it really spirals from there. Their sort of master guy is put in this sort of stasis almost because he's dead. I think I don't want to. God. Um, and yeah, I think this is my favorite Philip K. Dick book. Um, a lot of cool ideas in this, and a really good sort of climax to it all. And the characters and the world he sets up in this is really good. Has a lot of um, quite specific to Philip K. Dick themes. Yeah, it's my favorite Philip K. Dick, and I will put it probably A. I'll put it above Piranesi, and we shall avoid the next Ubik because I didn't read it twice. And then Babel, that was also in my top 10. Really good story about growth, coming of age in this university, multiple different sort of international students. I've got two Babels in here as well. Just, oh my god, I'm fucking terrible at this. um, Sort of coming of age, discovering certain parts of the world. They take expeditions to China and they meet people and the damage that the British Empire does. I really enjoyed Babel and the magic as well. It's quite subtle magic, but it works really well with the sort of linguistics, being able to help in more ways than just, what does this mean? It's sort of, they have like match pairs, which, if something comes from it's like, oh god, but it's like if words have a origin, so like different words have the same origin, I think that's the idea, then they can create a sort of trinket that can help help sort of people get better productivity in factories and can help weapons being more destructive. So yeah, it's a bit of a moral, like, is this morally right, especially helping the slave trade and British Empire taking over the world almost. But there's also a lot of good stuff of sort of heartfelt, students like setting up a really good relationship of trust and backing, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. So I'd put that. Did I put this above the mark? No, did I? I think I did. Did I? I think I did. Yeah, I think I put this third in the top 10. So, but I think the top 10 list that I created, it can be rather interchangeable. Yeah, it can be rather interchangeable in my very flippant way. It can change my rankings quite easily. Yeah. And then we have The Revenant by Michael Punk. You are Punk. This is a really brutal look at American discovery, the sort of exploration of the world, of America, the initial explorations, and fighting the wind, the weather, really well described in this book and really well explored. Really brutal as well, lots of graphic descriptions of blood and violence, and this sort of revenge story, coming back from the dead almost to seek revenge on the people that have left him behind. Really well done. A bit more than what is seen. A bit more than what is seen in the movie, but yeah, it was enjoyable. I would put it in this B tier. I think I think there was parts that didn't have such an impact. It didn't really go places that much. Like, there wasn't much to it, and it didn't explore parts I'm interested in. But yeah. And then we have Flight of the Nighthawks by Raymond E. Weiss. This is the first book in the Rift War saga, the Rift War trilogy. And these are the first books that I read in Raymond E. Weiss' sort of back catalogue. He's done a lot of books in this world, and like The Magician, The Magician's Apprentice. And I really liked the story. I really like the sort of character of Pug. I think his name's Pug. Yeah, Pug sounds good. The Pug guy he's probably my favorite character out of it all, and yeah, I think that it's a really well fleshed out character. It shows at the beginning how beaten up, how like elderly he is, and like how just sort of he's sort of done with this kind of crap. He's old and like wise in his ways, so that was really well done. And then they have like another magician who's like a friend of Pug. I'm not entirely sure of his name, but is all about sort of gambling and like luck based things. And there's this god, the certain gods of like chaos or luck, and understanding what sort of is the best way of going about things. There's a really, really in-depth history of magic and like gods and like clans of people. It builds up really well. It builds a really vivid world and a vivid sort of character base. I think the story is really well built up. It sort of, goes along the escalator, and I was really interested in where it was going, how it would deal with such massive characters of, gods of the underworld, gods of, just different dimensions as well. Different dimensions are at play at this. And this is sort of the beginning, the sort of early trappings and like teases at what this world can be, and that's really done quite well. And I think it's not it's a really good start to the trilogy, and as you can see, I carried it on. So I put that in the B tier as well. And then Into a Dark Age, I probably put it the same thing. Really good build up to the world and the characters. So I put that in the B as well. And then we have Only Human by Sylvain Nouvel. This is the final book. I read the first two in 2023, and I preferred those much more than Only Human. This is sort of the conclusion to it all, and it doesn't do that good a job at concluding it. There's a really annoying character in it that I didn't like, and it kind of lets the whole side down, really. Because I love the first two, and I'd put it in C tier, maybe, bottom of C. And then we have The Fellowship of the Rings by J.R. Tolkien. I don't think you need to know about this. I didn't like The Fellowship of the Ring as much as the others. So I don't know if I could put it. Maybe I'll put it at the bottom of S. And then we have Babel by Samuel R. Delany. And I really need to reread this again to give a good explanation, because I think a lot of it flew over my head, and that maybe because I was using Audible. It's quite a difficult book to grasp, especially if you're not entirely paying attention to things. Um, I struggle to keep grasp of certain things, but a lot of the ideas are really well done in Babel. This Babel, I think it's Babel 17 is the name of it. I would like to reread it, really. Then we have The Illustrated Man. This is another anthology by Ray Bradbury. It has certain parts that are similar to Martian Chronicles. I think there's a Martian story. There's a few Martian stories in it. I think this is not as good as the Martian Chronicles. There are stories that I didn't like or found not as enjoyable. I think this one I would maybe say to sort of dip in and out of it, because they are really they're not as fluid as the Martian Chronicles. They're not as they're like different places and things, but there's some really, really good stories in this. There's like the lion one at the beginning, which I enjoyed immensely, and Ray Bradbury's still great, so I would put that top of B. And then we have All System Red by Martha Wells. This is a Murderbot diary, and I kind of liked how it started. I wasn't a big fan of the person reading it in the Audible, but it's quick, and I liked where it started. It had quite an interesting sort of setup and things, but it I don't know, the whole Murderbot diaries, I'll put this above Only Human. The whole Murderbot diaries, I have feels like it's very personal, but it's almost too personal. Don't know. And then this is The Two Towers by J.R. Tolkien, and I'll put that right at the top. It's an amazing battle, amazing war, great. Artificial Conditioning, I didn't like this as much as All Systems Red, but I preferred it to Only Human. And it still kept me hooked enough. It was quick, and some cool ideas of, this sort of company and the sort of build up of these companies was really well done, and they're all out to get this Murderbot that has come out of nowhere and is sort of going off script almost, which I enjoyed, so I'll put that to C. And then we have The Light Fantastic by Terry Pratchett. I read The Colour of Magic maybe end of 2023, and I didn't like The Colour of Magic. I don't really like the comedy of Terry Pratchett, which is a surprise because I liked Mervyn Peake's comedy, but this comes across is in the audiobook. I may like this more if I reread it in paperback form. In paperback, the comedy may strike me better, but I enjoyed it immensely more than The Colour of Magic. I really liked the sort of story that it had. There was some good funny moments there that I kind of laughed out loud at, but it was still not all that great. I thought The Colour of Magic, maybe because I've been aware of Dungeons and Dragons so much that it felt very Dungeon and Dragon-y, but this is sort of the beginning. This is like the beginning of Dungeons and Dragons, I don't know if Dungeons and Dragons was even out when Terry Pratchett did this. If the first one, I thought I struggled with it because it felt very Dungeons and Dragons. Anyway, I enjoyed this more, and I'll put this at the top of C tier. And then we have The Return of the King, which I preferred more than The Two Towers. I really love the way it's concluded, the way it's built up, and Lord of the Rings, what an epic trilogy. And I would go back to the Fellowship of the Ring. The reason that I didn't like it as much is I thought when it got to the elves, it kind of slowed down a little bit, and I was losing a bit of interest in it a bit. At that point, it slowed down, and that's the reason I put it at the bottom. And then we have The Wrath of the Mad God, which is the third and final book in the Gryffindor trilogy, or whatever you want to call it. I really liked the way it ended, and it built up, and this huge sort of war with different dimensions and different places they were. It all coalesced and made this massive battle that to be honest, I really enjoyed it. Looking back on it, I think the narrator was really good as well, and Pug is probably my favorite character still in this book, and the whole gods thing, really good. I really enjoyed it, so I'll put Wrath of the Mad God maybe there. Maybe between Illustrated Man and The Revenant. Maybe above Illustrated Man. I really did enjoy the way it was concluded, so I'll put it there. Yeah. And then we have Rogue Protocol. Is that the one that it's called? Rogue Protocol, and I dislike this out of the ones that I tried probably the most. Actually, no, the next one I disliked even more. I felt like I was really getting bogged down in how samey they were. They were very samey. They're very quick, so maybe if you read them like one after the other, they might be pretty good. But yeah, I think I was slowly getting withered down by this story. It didn't have much legs to it. I don't think so. Yeah, I'll put this in the D tier. City of Illusions. This is about this man sort of falls from space, and he's a sort of alien with weird cat eyes, and he gets brought in by some humans living on Earth in the distant future that has been ravaged by aliens and left in sort of prehistoric-y like survival era, and then the alien sort of gets taken by this family, and he sort of gets a relationship with the girl, I forgot her name, but they sort of go on a quest to figure out why he's there, who he is, and he goes to the city, I forgot his name, and then this whole part of like mind reading the aliens is really well done, and I really enjoyed it, and it sort of ended quite abruptly, but either way, I really enjoyed this story, and I really enjoyed the relationship that was done, and like the mind speak whole thing, the weather and the journey they went on. There was points that felt like it was sort of a parody of Wizard of Oz. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I'll put this bottom of A tier. Exit Strategy, I've said that I didn't like. I think I liked it worse than Rogue Protocol. And then we have Red Rising, which is the first in the Red Rising trilogy. Red Rising Seventet. Is that his name? Seventet. Septuple. So this is the beginning of the saga. Quite a good introduction. It was very sort of Hunger Games-esque with this whole fight to try and be the best in this sort of academy place. I didn't like it as much as the other two, but it was a good introduction, enough to keep me going straight on to the next one. And it built characters really well and the relationships between them, and it built the world really well as well. And I think it wanted to be more straightforward to get people hooked in more, and it hooked me really, so I will put it in high B. Golden Sun, I enjoyed it immensely more than, not immensely, but I enjoyed it more than, I probably put Red Rising bottom of A. Golden Sun, I enjoyed it immensely. I'm not entirely sure of what happens in the second one, if I'm honest. This is sort of him becoming part of the world more, growing up, discovering who he is, and starting this sort of rebellion part. And I believe it has a really good ending. I think that ending is amazing in this book. Quite a twist that really did want to get me to go straight on to the next one as well, I think in audio form. Really good story, and I'll put this probably here. Yeah, I'll put that here. And then we have Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, an epic book with, like, it's a standalone, really good sort of magical world that is sort of in dormant, and it sort of shows a gradual change in the world. Cracks start to happen, and the world becomes more magical, and Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell are sort of at the forefront of it, as they learn different spells, learn different magical abilities, and have dealings with gods, not gods, but like magical people in a different realm, and their sort of wives and things like have quite a deep, they're almost like genies, like they will take certain parts. Maybe that's not what a genie is, but if you do a dealing with one of these magical people, they will take certain parts of your life, or do something to your life that is bad. So it's a bit of a gamble what they'll take. And I really enjoyed that part. I think the war part with Napoleon Bonaparte is not very good, not something that I enjoy. It was quite dull at points, and I just wanted it to get back to Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell's like rivalry and like rivalry and the development of magic. So, but overall the ending was really good as well, and I'll put this probably, I don't think maybe I would put it above Piranesi. Maybe above Ubik. I'll do that for the time being. And then we have Planet of Exile. I don't know if I'd like to reread this or not. This is the second This is the book before. I think it's before. I think I got this wrong when reading this initially, but I think this is before City of Illusions. This is about mainly about a town that's like under siege almost, and this development of a world. I would probably like to reread this, because I don't think I enjoyed it all too much. Um, there's really harsh weather, like winters are really bad. Oh, it lasts 15 years. I'm just reading the freaking synopsis at this point because I sort of forgot what's going on, and that's a bad sign that I didn't really connect with it that much. And yeah, I think I'd probably want to reread this at some point. Morning Star is the great ending to the first three of the Red Rising saga. I thought this was a really sort of epic peak in the story. Like, it really builds up and sort of gets to that point of the roller coaster where you're really enjoying it and having immense amounts of fun as you do on a roller coaster. There's a lot of fighting, war, great political intrigue as well. A lot of friendships were broken, and yeah, I I love this much. Lee, I don't remember where I put this in the top 10, but I'll put that above the Fellowship of the Ring. Cloud Cuckoo Land also on my top 10 by Anthony Doerr. This is, I struggle to figure out how to explain this because it's multiple different stories across multiple different timelines. I'll just read. There's Constantinople 1453, then we have Idaho in 2020, and then we have Unknown Sometime in the Future. So those three, and I think there is another one that's maybe a bit more in the past. Those three really sort of switch and change. They're constantly changing between them, flicking between Constantinople, Idaho, and the future, constantly doing it, which really builds up a conjoined world, a conjoined like story that is building up to like this sort of like way it's all connecting. And there's lots of stuff about friendship, the stories we tell, the legends, and how history can make such a big impact on the present. And yeah, I put this above Fellowship. No, I don't think I'd put this above the Fellowship of the Ring, and I don't think I'd put Morning Star above the Fellowship of the Ring. Okay, we'll do that. There's a lot of S's at the moment. Grief is the thing with feathers I did not like. This is I don't know how it's pretty much about a mother dies, and it's about how the family deals with the grief and the trauma that's happening in the family. And there's this crow, I think it's a crow, that comes and says a lot of blasphemous things, really, really harsh shit. There's a lot of swearing and a lot of like dark comedy. It didn't hit me. I didn't like it, and I put this D, maybe here. Yeah, I didn't like it. And then we have Alien Clay by Adrian Tchaikovsky, which I didn't like either. I thought it was rather dull. There wasn't much interest for me. It's about this guy who comes down as a worker to discover this planet, and there's like a rebellion, and this world seems rather in the background of this rebellion, and I don't think it really plays. They don't really connect for me. Like normally, a really good story should connect the two story, like the planet and the person, should sort of interweave with each other and be more than just two things that he likes. I didn't like it. I'll put this at the top of D, maybe. Yeah. Revelation Space by Alistair Reynolds. Now, I think this is probably slower than the other two, but I think it really builds up what Alistair Reynolds is trying to do in the world, and the world he's playing with, the characters, the initial characters of Dan Sylvester is sort of the main character, and him wanting to do this. He like finds this planet that he wants to go to, and there's this whole thing, a very cool thing about it's like the woman, oh god, I've forgotten her name, the madam someone, but there's that whole pot of like assassin type people that, or hitmen, that try to bring people down, and of like spaceships that can breathe, are like human beings, and this epic sort of travel to this planet to like see what's hidden, the mysteries behind it, and the mystery is pretty big. It's a big mystery, and is a big answer that sort of changes the whole way the books go from here on out. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'd put it probably here. Yeah. Recursion by Blake Crouch is the sequel. Is it the sequel to Dark Matter? I believe it's the second one, or like it's sort of a standalone but based in the same world with different timelines, different places. I thought it was quite fun. I maybe would probably want to reread it again, but I thought it was good fun and enjoyable, and yeah, but I don't know, I still want to reread it, I think. The Wasp Factory by Ian Banks is about a young boy who is struggling with being so alone, being like on this island in Scotland, away from the world, and like they're almost sort of socially distant, and they're outcasts in Scotland, and the town, the brother is potentially coming back, potentially not, has escaped from somewhere, maybe a insane asylum type place, and there's a really good suspense about whether or not he will come back, and there's these occasional like phone calls to Frank, who is the name, or is it Eric? No, Frank. Eric is the brother, and there's this really deep sort of secret that is hidden underneath it all. Why is he like he is? Why is Frank like he is? And all these sort of weird tests he does, and weird like experiments he does with animals. I think that's what sort of kept me interested, and it sort of alludes and there's this looming fear of what's going to happen. I enjoyed my time. I don't think it was. I think I don't think it was anything too amazing. I wasn't gripped throughout it all, but it was a good tense thriller. So I'd put this. Yeah, I put that here. Put that there and beat it. Iron Gold is the fourth book in the Pierce in Red Rising. This is sort of a detour to multiple different characters with different goals and challenges they want to face. It has different POVs. It's much darker than the third one. I think I'm potentially getting it mixed up with Dark Age, but I think this introduces us to new characters, a new way of looking at these stories. It's sort of more of a grown-up thing compared to the other three, which are sort of more YA. It doesn't go through Darrow. I don't think Darrow is in this book. He might be. I may be wrong about that. But it sort of goes to a red girl who's in a refugee camp, and it follows her sort of growth and dealing with the grief that she has, and that's played out really well. And there's a lot of good characters that are put into this story, but I think this is probably one that I lost interest in the story. It felt like a expanse, but not a good expansion in my opinion. I think there's some good characters that are introduced, but it loses the plot and the main reason for having Darrow as the main character. And it kind of wanted to expand on it, so maybe more books out of it. I'd put this. I still enjoyed my time and enjoyed the world. The world is probably the best part about it in this book. I don't know if I enjoyed it as much as Raymond E. Feist. First two, I'd probably put them similar. Map of Days by Raymond Riggs is the fourth book in the Miss Peregrine. I read the first three, 2023, and this is sort of a return to form from the final two in the main trilogy. A sort of reimagining almost, or like a sort of road trip style thing across America to find these hidden loops of peculiar people, peculiar children, and there's this hidden like evil presence that is following them. And I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed this sort of road trip. I think I'd put it there as well. I'd put it behind Iron Gold. And then we have Pines by Blake Crouch. It's a really enjoyable read. It's a really good trilogy that has, I don't know how to explain it, but it's really fun to read it, to listen to it. This sort of detective doesn't really know where he is or why he's there or how he got there, and the town's a bit weird. There's certain things that aren't as they seem, and the mysteries that are at play are really well done. So I'd put this maybe above Iron Gold. Um, I think I enjoyed Raymond Weiss more. Maybe. I think Wayward is better than the first one. Um, it's all the sort of mysteries are kind of revealed in the main mystery is revealed in the first one, but this still has mysteries, and like what's behind the fence is, I think, whether or not the fence is, the whole town is expanded and the world is expanded. So I would probably put that more above. I think I'd put the Revenant. I'm looking at the Revenant. I'm like, it shouldn't be up there, I don't think. So I think I'd put it between Wayward and the Revenant. I think I'd prefer it there. And then we have Redemption Arc, which is the second book in Revelation Space. And this is a big space voyage across the universe with lots of battles and a tense sort of journey to a planet to try and save them before an alien race can get to them. There's sort of some weapons that are on a spaceship, which is a really cool spaceship. I really love that spaceship, and the ever-growing spaceship with the virus. I forgot the name of the virus, but it's a cool idea. A lot of cool ideas are on this book that I love. So yeah, it's one of my favorite books of the year. I'd put it here. I think I'd put it above Cloud Cuckoo Land. Just the ideas are epic in scale and really well done. The Last Town is the final book in the Wayward Pine trilogy, or whatever you call it. I think it's a really good ending. I think it's a quite a nice bow to the end. Oh, wrong one. And there's also sort of history that is played out. There's parts of the backstories, and some secrets are told, and there's a lot of cool ideas here as well that are put to the task, and like how this community can survive in such a place. And I enjoyed it. I think I'd put it. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as the second one, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. Oh shit! Maybe I enjoyed the Pines more. I rated it more. Fuck. Okay, we'll put it there. We'll do that. I think the Pines is a really good setup. In my Goodreads, alright, I'm looking at my Goodreads. I'm like, oh, hold on, I put Pines above Wayward in terms of my ratings, and it's probably because it's like the beginning, and it sets up these characters really well. And then Wayward and The Last Town are quite tense and quite thrillery, and there's some really good things about. I think I put Wayward above The Revenant. There's some really good sort of community-based things, whether or not you should, lead and take control of a town, and I think it's a cool story and a good trilogy. I probably struggle to rank them because all three of them together are probably the main story. Yeah. Then we have The Watch House by Robert Westall. This is a horror type thing in a coastal town with a girl that goes there for the summer and wants to discover what's going on with this watch house. And it's quite fun. It's a good sort of enjoyable read. I wouldn't say it's anything amazing. I'd probably put it there. Then we have Pavan by Keith Roberts. Amazing story. Sort of alternate history about whether or not assassination of Queen Elizabeth II. I believe that's it. Yeah, some really good short sort of anthology-esque stories with different characters and Signalman. I love trains. I try to deny it, but I love trains, and I will put Pavan up there at the top. Absolution Gap by Alistair Reynolds is the third book and probably the weakest of the four, even, mainly because of the ending. I thought the ending was a massive letdown, and there's some good there's some good ideas as usual with Alistair Reynolds, and I just think some of it didn't hit as much. It didn't quite know where it was going to go, how it was going to end. But I still enjoyed it nonetheless, and enjoyed the tense thriller that it was. So I think I'd put it end of A. Does that sound right? I don't know if maybe I'd put Raymond Feist up in A. Maybe up in Map of Days C. Maybe put Iron Gold C. Alright, we'll put it at top of C. Did I enjoy it more than Wrath of the Mad God? I think I... You know what? Raymond E. Feist is coming up the rear. He's coming up the rear. But yeah, Absolution Gap. I enjoyed the story, and I enjoyed the epic proportions that Alistair Reynolds puts into stories. Dark Age by Pierce Brown. I think this is the beginning of the journey of a guy that I really enjoyed in the final 3 that are out. I really enjoyed his journey. Actually, no, I think he's started in Iron Gold, the ex-soldier. I think, yeah. He's one of my favourite characters in Pierce Brown. His narrator in the audiobook, I really like him. He's sort of got a northern accent, which I enjoyed really well. But I think it's still sort of let down by it going darker, going to in a different turn almost, and the stories I'm not as interested as the first 3, but still an enjoyable read, and I think it's better than Iron Gold. I put it at top of B, bottom of B. The Dispossessed I need to reread, because I think some of the stuff I struggled to understand, and I didn't quite grasp. Some of the stuff I didn't quite grasp. Ursula Le Guin's stuff is at points quite tough for me to understand what's going on. And The Dispossessed is one of those. There's a lot of good stuff in this. There's a lot of good stuff with the 2 planets and how they bounce off each other. One of them's sort of probably more communist, is sort of a communist thing where everyone is on the similar level, and then the next one is much more capitalist, and that the 2 planets play off each other really well, and the stories are interlinked. So there's like different the futures, they're sort of The way it's played out is they sort of interlace and then come together with. I think the main reason why he goes there so like one of them's in the past where he's in the sort of communist planet, and then the capitalist is sort of the future, and the ending is a past sort of coming to the beginning of the future. So it's like the reason why he goes to the capitalist planet, and the capitalist planet has a lot of deceit and a lot of like characters that would sort of turn on you in a second, which I really enjoyed. But I still would like to really reread it and get the full idea of it all. And yeah, if I were to put it somewhere, I'd probably put it in middle of B-ish, like here, somewhere like that. But I think I would want to reread it. Maybe if I'm more sort of grown in my reading, I would enjoy it more, but maybe I wouldn't. I don't know. Gormenghast by Mervyn Peake, second book in the Gormenghast series, and I didn't like this as much as Titus Grown. I thought that the world is good. There's a lot of really abrupt endings to characters that I thought weren't too warranted. They were quite shocking, but I didn't feel like they were warranted in how they played out. But nonetheless, love Mervyn Peake. I probably would enjoy it more if I reread it again, but nonetheless, I put it probably here. I put it there for the time being. I still really enjoyed it. I enjoy the world. I enjoy the characters. I just think it failed at giving people proper endings. Andy Weir, Project Hail Mary, a really enjoyable read. Andy Weir's really good at creating these characters that have a good mystery to them, a really good idea of what's going on, what's happening, trying to get out of this survival type predicament he's put them in, with, like The Martian. This has a lot more bigger science fiction ideas to them, and yeah, I don't really want to spoil it, but it's a really good ride, and I think quite a lot of people enjoy it. I've seen people that don't enjoy it as much, and I think the character is quite grating. I think Andy Weir's characters for me are rather annoying at times, but besides that, it's a really good story, and I'd put it there. I think there. I'll put it there. Prophecy by Dave Seltzer is a big monster evil in the forest trying to kill people that come across him, and it's about climate change, what the problem with not like dealing with it. It's a fun story. I wouldn't put it above Map of Days or Iron Gold. I'd put it around there, maybe. No, I'd put it there. This Streaming Isle is a short story collection of horror based in the British Isles. And as with most short story collections, except some from Ray Bradbury, there are good ones and there are less good ones. This has some really good stories, some really vivid stories that will keep with me for quite a while. And I'll put it bottom of B. Maybe I'll put it above Dark Age, just because. Yeah, why not? Earthsea Quartet. Now we're talking. Ursula K. Le Guin, back at it. Very fantasy. Four stories. I didn't really want to break them apart. because I read them as a one, and it's about Ged, an old wizard that, or you see him at the beginning making his way through the school that he gets put in, and his sort of grow up, and then it follows him as he journeys to discover what fears him, what is the main fear, the sort of darkness that resides in his mind. He journeys to find dragons and the sort of the like corners of the earth, and they're really good stories, really good sort of quests that he follows. Every character is really important in the story and has a really good part to play. So yeah, I'd put this, I don't think I'd put it above Twin Towers, but I'd put it above Babel. It's one of my favourite books of the year. And then we have Titus Alone. I enjoyed this more than Gormenghast. It's people don't enjoy this one that much, but I really enjoyed the sort of change of pace. Titus Grown goes on his lonesome and journeys to different cities, and it's a sort of science fiction-y type twist on the tale. There's sort of modern parts and weird creature people, really weird animal people in it, and yeah, I really enjoyed how it ended as well. There was a really cool part at the end. It felt quite meaningful, and I enjoyed the sort of climax. There's a few sort of short story collections, or maybe a few short stories that I would like to read with Mervyn Peake, but yeah, Mervyn Peake is amazing, and I put it there. Lightbringer, I feel like is the bringer of light. It's sort of a revitalized thing. It's sort of preparing for this epic climax that's supposed to happen in the final book. It's coming out at some point, maybe this year, maybe next. A great return to Darrow. Darrow's sort of pinnacle, and it follows him mainly and his journey to regain what he wants to strive for, how he wants to do it. And there's a lot of good parts to this, a lot of good sort of developments in characters, and this massive rivalry between him and what's his name? Lysander. Is it Lysander? Yeah, it's a really good rivalry, really good world that he created. You know, I really enjoyed it, so I put it maybe above Gormenghast. You know, why is the Wasp Factory there? I'd put the Wasp Factory down there. Yeah, I think I'd put the Lightbringer there. And then we have Canticle for Leibowitz. This is 3 stories based in post-apocalypse. What would technology, bring, how technology would bring religion almost, which is a really cool idea. First story is really good. Second one, not very good. I didn't enjoy it. And the third one is a bit of a... is better than the second one, but not as good as the first one. Yeah, I enjoyed the third one, and overall the book is pretty good to get to, pretty good to read, and yeah, I think I'd put it here. Here. Yeah. No. Here. No, here. Yeah, I put it there. And then we have Robert Bernard with his Little Victims, which is a thriller crime. Who done it? Who killed this little pupil guy that can be a little shit at times? I'd put it here. Yes, I think we'll put it here. 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami. First Haruki Murakami I've read. It's a massive book. It's like 30 hours long, maybe more. But Haruki Murakami has such a control with his stories. They're built up. There's a massive build up of this underlying like fairy tale type creatures, and this mystery world is really well done and in such a controlled manner. I think that's what I really like about this story, is how everything just seems to flow really well and is controlled and builds up. And yeah, I think it's a really good story, a really good relationship, a lot of sex. I tried this once and stopped because I think it was rather quite slow, and then went back on it, and then it felt quite meditative to read through, to listen to. It's got an almost, I don't know, a really good pace to it, and yeah, I enjoyed it. I'd put it here. I might move stuff up to A and maybe move stuff down to C. I think I'm going to put these down to C. I think I preferred 1Q84 to Revelation Space. Yeah, let's do that. Handmaid's Tale, classic, alternate history or dystopian future about how things can be censored, how sex and relationships and female freedom, male freedom as well can be restricted. All this advertisement and female exploitation is censored, and what world that would bring to America and the potentially worldwide, we don't know. And it follows the main character as she is a handmaid and is tasked with trying to get a baby, and it's quite tense at times, like whether or not what she's doing is correct, what she's doing is right, and like the sort of slow change in her personality as she realizes that this world is not good. She's been sort of ingrained to just accept this world, and really she shouldn't. But yeah, it's really bleak, and but really great at the same time. So I think I'd put this in the A tier. I don't know why Absolution Gap is there. Am I mad? I'm changing things around, moving things up, moving things down. Handmaid's Tale, I'd put it bottom of A tier. Ringworld by Larry Niven, I didn't like. I think the grand scale of the planet is really good, and the world is created, but the story isn't there for me. It's not very interesting, and the way it ends is not great for me. Although the real ending is good. The proper ending, like the final part, is good, but the build up to it is not that good, and I wasn't that interested in where it was going, how it ended. I feel like it was a good idea, but poorly executed at points that didn't really keep me hooked. So I'll put it. Should I put it in D? Do I really put it in D? Above Murderbot Diaries? Maybe I'll put Murderbot Diaries. No, because I did enjoy Murderbot Diaries to a degree. Ringworld, I kind of wanted to just end. What Moves Dead by T. Kingfisher is a remake of the what do we call it? Fall of the House of Usher, and this sort of fungus that has come and taken over the family and the people that live in this family, and it's about a friend of theirs coming there and discovering this darkness that overwhelms them. And a good story, a good sort of mystery, a play. But I think the story overall isn't that interesting. It's rather, you can see where things are going from a mile away, and there's some comedy that isn't very good, and but still an enjoyable read for me, and I'd put it C. I put it above these. Yeah, I put it there. The Glamour by Christopher Priest. The more I think about this, the more I love it more and more. It's such a good story, and such a good tale about memory and loss and grief, and there's some really dark moments in this, some really dark sort of like things that people should never go through, and there's this whole ambiguous thing about memory, whether or not something did happen, whether or not it was sort of made up, and it's a bit of a hidden one that I don't see many people talk about, but read it if you like a little bit more soft science fiction and more sort of cult, like sort of the Wasp Factory-esque type book, but with more science fiction. And I think it's just a really well collated story that's everything sort of amalgamated quite well. And I'd put it at the top of A. I was very close to putting it at the top 10, but I didn't. Babel, we have already ranked. Something Wicked This Way Comes. I've talked about this a lot in videos, but Ray Bradbury's great, and this is just one singular story about a circus that comes to town, and I'd put it end of maybe here. I think I'd put Gormenghast. Something Wicked This Way Comes. Did I prefer it to Illustrated Man? I think I'd... You know what? Let's do that. Reread for Blackheart Man. I don't think I really got it. There's a lot of words that are based in this world that I struggle to keep a hold of. Doesn't hold your hand at all, but it is sort of a alternate world type thing, with a lot of historical realism to it. But I would need to reread it because I struggle to keep track. Dracula, a classic. I did a whole freaking video based on Dracula and the journey of Dracula, and yeah, it's a good book. It's sort of told in diary entries. Still my favorite way of telling the story. It's such a bleak, sorrowful world. It's not as good as Frankenstein or something like that. It's quite slow at points, but it builds up and does it really well. And yeah, it's just a shame that the vampires have to do weird, sexy shit. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know at this point. Carmilla is a sort of short novelette. I think it's a novelette or short story or novella. It's about a woman that comes to this building, and her mum wants her to sort of get rid of her. Sort of leaves her and like, go run away, because she's a bit of a weird. She's a vampire, and it's not really specifically said, but yeah, it's quite a tragic feeling to it all, about this misinterpreted young woman that is just sort of tossed from side to side, and and then she falls in love with this potentially underage girl, and it's not really specifically said, but I think she's underaged, and the struggles of being a lesbian in this time, but also sucking people's blood. I put it here. I don't know how to really rate that one, because it's quite short and not my cup of tea. Diamond Dogs Turquoise Days is short, two short stories by Alistair Reynolds in this sort of book. Diamond Dogs is really good, really fun story about a tower that is breathing life, and this guy wants to figure out what the hell's going on. I've done reviews of it in the past, but I really enjoyed Diamond Dogs. Turquoise Days was not as good, but still enjoyable. I think I'd put it at the bottom of B. Elric of Melniboné, the first book, I enjoyed. It set up the world quite well. I put it here. Fortress of Pearls, I put above Elric of Melniboné, I believe. I think it's a better thing, and I gotta shrink myself. I'm shrinking because I'm going. Maybe I should put myself here. I'm moving myself around. Whoa. Okay. Still enjoyed it, but not as much. And I enjoyed the gods and things. So yeah. Seas of Fate I enjoyed even more than the Fortress of Pearls. I think this one sort of plays with the gods more, so that's kind of, I think, why I enjoyed it more. The sort of the underbelly of this world, it played with it more. Maybe I'll put my face here. Yes. So I put that one maybe above Camilla. I think I'd prefer that. Yeah. Weird of the White Wolf, I think I put Moth Quest, the first book in the Children of Violence thing. I've done some reviews on that. You can see on my YouTube channel, but I like Doris Lessing's writing. I like the world she created in this one, sort of South African coming of age story, and World War One's like in the rearview mirror, World War Two coming into play. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I'll put it bottom of A. Yeah, why not? Authority by Jeff Vandermeer is the second one. I don't know why it's Annihilation, Jeff Vandermeer. What's going on in this place? What is it called? Area X, I believe it's called. Annihilation is the better one that I've read so far. It sets up this world and this character that is sort of the big mystery behind the second one, the third one. Yeah, I'd put Annihilation here. Yeah. There's a lot. I think I'm going to put Only Human D. Yeah, fuck it. We'll put these D. Yeah, that looks right. Authority, I didn't like. It was kind of slow and boring at times. The continuation of Annihilation, a slog, but still had good parts about it. The Outsider by Colin Wilson. I've talked about this so fucking much. It's good book. Go watch many of my other videos where I talk about it. I will put it above MathQuest, above Handmaid's Tale, above 1Q84, above Lightbringer, above Dracula. Yeah, let's put it there for the time being. Dogs of War by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I am not as enamored by it as other people that have reviewed this, but it has a lot of good stories, a lot of good ideas, and yeah, it's pretty good. I'll put it here. No, there. They put it there. Behold the Man by Michael Moorcock. So, a good short story, a really good short story about Jesus and why you would want to go time traveling back to Jesus and a crucifixion, where interplayed with him as a child and him being brought up and troubles he faces. I will put it here. No. Here. Inhibitor Phase by Alistair Reynolds, the fourth book in the Revelation Space series. I really enjoyed this. It was very fun to read through. It became. I don't have the Gallant. It's back. Yeah, really good read, really enjoyable, and I enjoy Alistair Reynolds' writing immensely. I would put this above Absolution Gap. Haunting in the Arctic. Enjoyable to a point. The modern day I really didn't like. I put this bottom of C. And then finally, The Glance by Danny Wirtz. A really good novel about romance and love and setting up a good story, which I'm currently reading and enjoying. And it's such a unique language that I haven't seen. Put it here. No. Yes. No. Can you repeat the question? You're not the boss of me now. You're not the boss of me now. I'll put it there. Golly. And that, I believe, is all my books ranked from 2024. Do you agree with my rankings? Some of them are a bit interchangeable, and I may not have ranked them as much as well as I thought I could. And the reread ones, I really need to reread to understand them a bit more. So yeah, thanks for watching. My brain's gone crazy. I think that's the end. Comment what are your favourite books of 2024, what the favourite books you read, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.